Good morning, I'm Matt, and this really isn't an RC coffee chat, but you will be learning about ad revenue, the ad apocalypse, why content creators might be complaining about adverts getting dropped from their videos on YouTube, and also I wanted to take a deeper look at the revenue making opportunities on YouTube so that you understand how the YouTube channels which you watch, how they make money, if at all, in short. So sit back, this is a bit of a different one than normal. I've got a cup of coffee. You might have a beer, that's alright. And we're going to have a chit-chat about YouTube revenue. Now, I've seen recently a good number of YouTube channels which I subscribe to getting on camera and having just nothing more than a fucking good rant about their YouTube videos getting demonetized. And for them, that is probably a big deal. And the reason for this is that it is a bit of a long-winded one, but for all intents and purposes, again, you could blame this on a third party, you could blame it on a specific YouTuber, but actually the story to this is slightly unfair. Basically, is that a company pointed out to YouTube advertisers that there was less than what was the word? Anti-Semitic, I think that's where you pronounce it, videos going out with their adverts on them, and they were getting associated. Not cool by association at all. So lots and lots of companies pulled out of YouTube. As such, YouTube panicked and pulled out the strings, and anything which they class is on the edge, they remove advertising from. Even a harmless video, say from Sir Bruce, about some RC airplanes or Christmas, you know, and that's what it is. So this isn't a rant from my point of view. This is more of like, let's find out what's going on and see what content, what the people who you watch on YouTube, how they basically, or how they can make money, some of the options which they have available to them, and just a bit of a chit chat about this. Now, I feel it's important, and again, this is why I've got my screen up here in the background. Okay, so this is for the last 28 days, 30 days on YouTube. I don't run, well, I do, I need to get this right. I do run adverts on YouTube, but I run adverts on the, you'll have to excuse me, my alarm's going off, and it is here at what time in the morning? 5:05 in the morning. Kid you not, look, they're 5:05 in the morning. And I'm to be honest, I'm here having a cup of coffee. I'm waiting for Costa to open so I can get up and get into work mode. Anyway, coming back to the revenue, I do run adverts on some of the videos which I have on YouTube, namely the ones which are not, well, you've just seen the screen jump down, that wasn't on purpose, but mainly to do with videos which I'm really not that interested in at all anymore. So, well, I don't mind sharing this with you at all. Setting up a Naze 32 board, that which is a very, very old video now. World of Tanks, that was a video which I made ages ago. There's some S-Bus in there. And again, I've put adverts on the series to the Pix, no, not the Pix, the Onion Amiga, which I've stuck them on as well. So very low volume videos, and they make a few cents-ish a day. And the thing is that I have always hated adverts on YouTube, and I genuinely mean that. I hate adverts, and it's not necessarily just on YouTube. I just hate adverts in general. I just don't like being a marketeer. You would have thought that I would love adverts, and there was a stage when I went for and I absolutely adored adverts. And maybe you're a marketer and you look at adverts and really it turns you on. But for me, I've got to the stage I hate adverts with a vengeance. And Adblock, which is a fantastic tool which you can get for pretty much every web browser now, will block out adverts, especially those on YouTube, but also on other sites as well. Yeah, so when I started my adventures on YouTube, it was very clear from the beginning that, well, number one, I didn't like adverts, and number two, at the time, go back a year or more, I was banned from running adverts on YouTube, from just due to a few misadventures many moons ago, and I do mean many years ago, with YouTube AdSense, but we won't even go there. Well, not YouTube AdSense, but AdSense in general. So yeah, advertising was never an option for me, and to be honest, I actually feel a lot better that none of the RC videos which you will watch now or in the imminent future, at least for another 12 months, because that's how long it would take for my attitude to change towards adverts, we're not going to be running them. So I like ad-free videos. It pisses me off when I start up a video like, I'm going to use Mighty Car Mods, for example, a fantastic pair of lads over in Australia, and the guys are really cool, but the one bit which really pisses me off about their channel, they run adverts on them, which I understand they've got to make revenue, etc, but I just don't like adverts at all. Anyway, so yeah, have I kind of answered our questions about demonetization? Yes, no, I haven't. And the answer for that is that for many content creators, having videos demonetized is a big deal for them. And the reason why it's a big deal for them is because they are perhaps only relying upon that single source of revenue for their YouTube activities. And also, I don't know if you're aware of this, but it's kind of logical when you think about this, is that when a video is first published, is that there is a big spike in traffic. But then over the next 3 or 4 days, it literally just goes off a cliff. For them, literally, as you can see on here, there's a nice graph here. That's what happens to a video. It just falls off a cliff, and that's the end of its life. And that does mean is that if their video is demonetized for even a short period of time, especially around the time when the video is released publicly, is that it's going to have a massive impact to their revenue. Now, the other thing is as well, I want to put this into perspective, is that the only way you're really going to make real money out of YouTube advertising on YouTube is, or the creators which you watch, is if they've got literally tens, if not hundreds or millions of subscribers and tens and hundreds of thousands of views on their videos as they go out. That's the only real way which you can make money out of YouTube, and it's just a stark reality. So for me in fact, I'm absolutely amazed on the very small number of videos which I've turned adverts on. I have earned in the last 30 days $10.52. Okay, so yes, I'm gonna get I could afford a cup of coffee from that from Costa this morning, but I better make it just a black one because I couldn't afford milk to go in it. So yeah, advertising from YouTube is a viable, I do stress this, is a viable revenue generation tool for YouTube providers. Not one which you will see actively used here on the Rag the Nuts Off channel, but larger channels will rely on advertising revenue to gain revenue for them. Now, I did mention I wanted to just cover a couple of other options available to content creators, and I'm sure you've already been and seen these, but I think it's like kind of worth just spelling these ones out. Like I said, this is going to be about a bit of just a random chit-chat about revenue generation on YouTube and my personal hate for adverts, and perhaps, and then to help you understand why you've seen rants about demonetization over the past couple of weeks, because I know that I've watched 4 videos from 4 of some of my favourite content creators, all having a whinge about this, in short. So it is something which is going on. Maybe it's not directly impacting you, but it is concerning the people which you watch on YouTube. So hence this video, just to share what's going on. Now, as a content creator, I and the people which you watch do have multiple different options available to them to create revenue. Now, before we actually get into those options, I do want to make this point, is that that's even if they want to make revenue from YouTube. Some people create videos and video content on YouTube because they want to, because they enjoy it. They either enjoy the content creation process, whether that's the storyboarding, where it's the actual recording piece, but the bit which I get the most thrill from, to be honest. Frankly, I should have just hit live on this video. That would have done me for the whole day, you know. It could be because of the video editing afterwards. It could be because of the promotion of the video. Content creators have many different reasons for creating videos, and they might just create video content on YouTube because they enjoy doing it, and there's nothing wrong with that, in short. If you can sustain it for a long period of time. Again, that's my biggest concern about what I'm doing here on YouTube, and we'll go way off topic now, is that is personally one of my biggest concerns about my own activities on YouTube, is that the first year must post a video every single day, and now I'm into 2018, a year or over a year later, and I'm now into uncharted territory, which is, as I've mentioned before, I'm just going to do it for passion. As something comes up and I feel it's worthwhile to share with you, I'm going to share with you. But this is why I'm making this video now, because I want to know about this demonetization piece and what other options content creators have. And getting back to my point, they may just want to do it for free. Okay, and that's great. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, some people just not money orientated, don't have no interest in making money from what they're doing. They're just enjoying it because they enjoy, well, they create it because they just enjoy the process, and that's great. Okay, but put ourselves back onto a bit of a more of a financial ground, in something which I've always made clear from very, very early in the beginning. This channel does need to wipe its bottom. Okay. So the first thing is sponsorship, okay, and I like sponsorship for YouTube channels. Now, one of my favourite examples, in fact, I'll quickly just look him up a second, was this Curious Droid, and it's kind of handy that, excuse me, that you can see my screen. Let me go and open up Curious Droid. Lovely guy, very intelligent guy, Curious Droid. Go and look him up on YouTube and pick one of his recent videos. Every video, pretty much, he's wearing a wacky shirt. In fact, why don't we crank up one of his videos, and we will see if we can find... There he is! And that is a classy Paisley shirt, okay? And I've watched this one. You can see I've liked this video. It's a very good video. I really enjoyed it. And the thing is that his videos are sponsored. They're about space. Okay, and his videos are sponsored by a t-shirt or shirt company. Okay, I think when in fact, I think they're even called Madcap. I'm going to zoom to the end. I don't think he might even not. Oh no, he did mention it. I just see it popped up on the screen. I may have just tried. There you go, Madcap. Atom Retro and Madcap England are the sponsors of his video content. So this is a great example where the content which is being created is completely unrelated to the actual sponsor. I'm sure you've seen the relentless videos like for Casper mattresses or Eve mattresses and things like that, something which has been becoming a little bit more popular now, especially for UK content creators. So there is sponsorship, there is... yeah, there are more avenues other than in the RC industry, like Runcam, for example, sending out free stuff. Okay, sponsorship can take many different forms of many different values as well. So do keep that in the back of your mind. The another option for revenue generation is Patreon. Now, Patreon went through a time of change. That's me not using the F word. Those of you which don't know what I'm talking about or never heard of Patreon, basically Patreon, you can become a Patreon of a YouTube channel by sending them, the creators, some money, or subscribing to them, to make a subscription to them, to send them a few quid or a few dollars every single month. So like a PayPal subscription or like a Netflix subscription, but you're actually paying the content creator directly, which is great. But they did go through a very recent time of change and frankly fuck things up. There's no other words about it. But for all intents and purposes, Patreon is it has been the lifesaver for many YouTube content creators, because before the ad apocalypse 1, 2 and 3, is that the most bigger YouTube channels were just really solely focused upon ad revenue, and of course that went away and they all went brown, and Patreon was the saving grace for them. And again, Patreon made some changes, literally shot themselves in the foot, and there's a bit of a story around that. I'll leave you to research that. But Patreon or sponsorship, like donations, is definitely also an option as well. Not so, again, by the way, I do have a Patreon account, but I've just never told anybody about it because it's not a route which I want to go down. Again, I'm just relying on what has worked for me and what I feel comfortable with. So yeah, I don't personally feel for my circumstances at this present moment in time, Patreon is a route for the Rag the Nuts Off channel to go down. Now, what else have we got in here as options? Which is a little bit awkward because I've kind of missed out my list. Right, so we spoke about ad revenue, we spoke about sponsorship, direct product sales. Now, I actually really like this one because this comes in direct and slightly indirect as well. So direct product sales could be an example of Ave, for example, one of my favourite YouTube channels. He's made rulers. You've seen me here with T-shirts. The mugs over there. That's an indirect one, but there's a mug and things like which he's personally been and created and then sells, say, through Etsy, for example, and you can purchase directly from him. And that's fantastic. That's just a very simple example. Is that you, as a content creator, the people who you watch, could create something, and you get the opportunity to buy them from them, and probably at a premium, and you're going to be very happy at paying a premium. I know personally, I was very happy paying a premium for a T-shirt and a mug from one of my favourite content creators, and there's nothing wrong with that, in short. And I think that works really, really well. Now, that can be direct from the actual content creator, the person who you watch, or it could also be indirectly via third parties. So, like say Teespring, for example, who the content creator can make a picture, stick on a T-shirt or mug or something like that, and then you actually buy from Teespring, and then he makes some money from that. So you have direct and you have indirect, so we'll bundle those together. Now, the other route, which is affiliates, and that's a route which I feel most comfortable in. That's just basically due to my history to do with affiliate marketing, and it's also the route which I like the most. Okay, and it's the reason why I like it the most is because if it's done right, it works very, very well. Okay, and again, it doesn't take a genius for any of you to work out how I class is how it's done right. Is that you don't accept the item as a freebie. That's one of my moral rules here. Is that don't accept items as freebies, because I do personally feel that does bias the opinion, because you're not going to slate it off too much because you don't want to bite the hand which feeds. So the best route for me, I've found, is to actually purchase the item and then make a decision from there about the things which you like about the model and what things which you don't like about the model, and then make comparisons to other models which are similar if there's one available, and then to give a balanced opinion on the actual product, or the review of the product, of whether it's any good or not. Now, if you think about back, and again, you need to be open and honest about these things, something which has really pissed me off in the past, and I've had a few pokes along the way in the past year, but I do my best to make things absolutely 100% clear, like all links in the video description are going to be affiliate links. If you use any of those, you're going to be supporting this channel. Words or phrases, which I'm sure you've heard me mention over almost 1,000 times now, I hope, And that's the thing, is that you need to be clear. You need to be transparent. Unfortunately, there are still YouTube channels out there. It's still, unfortunately, some of the larger ones, which completely hide this from you. And for I did a video on affiliate marketing a while back, which I'll put a link in the top right hand corner for you. For all intents and purposes, you are being lied to your face. about this, and I don't think that's right. So perhaps we look about a very recent example, in fact the last video which I published, which was about the Fair wing, using that one as an example. Don't get me wrong, it's a nice wing, it has some positive points to it, and I've been sat here this morning, because I've been up since 4 o'clock, thinking, was I too hard on that wing? And the reality is that perhaps I was a bit too hard in a few places, because there's definitely some positive things to it, like the the supports and the bracing in the elevons, and it had the little nuts and stuff preset on it. But for all intents and purposes, it was a $100 wing, and compared to the other options out there, it wasn't not that good value for money. And remember, I put down that $100, the $99.99 to purchase that wing, and I'm not very happy as a consumer, because I don't feel it's very good value for money compared to other products which are out there. Although the LEDs are fucking well cool, but I just want to put these things into perspective. Is that a review on that wing could have been biased by that model being provided for free, okay? And that's not something which I want to get into. But my point here is that with affiliate marketing, it doesn't need to be anything sleazy. It can be open, and I'm sure you're aware of that. I've done my absolute best to be as graceful and as open as possible over the past year and a bit now, as far as the affiliate sites go. But it is definitely a viable option. And it doesn't necessarily need to be the products which you're talking about. It could be for t-shirts, for example, where if you go and buy a t-shirt from company XYZ, which is recommended by, say, myself, then I would gain, or the content creator would gain, a commission off that. So there's like 4 ways which content creators can make revenue from videos. Those are kind of the 4 major ones. Obviously, there's as many ways as that you can imagine to make money, or YouTube creators can make money or revenue from YouTube. But yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about this morning. I wanted to talk about the ad apocalypse, which I kind of vaguely did, to be honest. Basically, it's affected all the larger content creators because they have been so heavily reliant upon ad revenue, and of course that's gone away almost overnight now, which has put things like donations via Patreon very much at the forefront of people's minds, although Patreon really did shoot themselves in the foot with their pricing change, which they recently did. But there are other alternatives out there outside of advertising, and I feel that this channel is a great example of where a YouTube channel can exist, and it's not reliant upon ad revenue. Literally, I could buy 2 mockers for £6 from Costa, and knowing the conversion rate at the moment, I would have probably lost money this morning by the amount of ad revenue which I've generated off this YouTube channel in the last 30 days, you know. And it's all about choices. So and it's the choices which you have not only as a video or content consumer on YouTube, but if you do create your own videos as well as a content creator, then I hope this has been and helped you as well, to give you an idea that there are options out there. And the cool thing is that if you look at some of the bigger channels, for example, when it comes to like Patreon example, is that people will sponsor you. Okay, if you boil it down to 2 basic things, people go to YouTube for 2 different reasons. Well, one or a combination of both. They either go there for information or to be entertained. Okay, or the combination of those 2 things. And if you can do those 2 things, or one of those things, well, then you might actually be deemed as interested to the person or persons who might be looking for that information or that entertainment, or the combination of the pair of them. So I've kind of gone off topic. My coffee is almost cold now, so I would like to say a massive thank you to you for taking the time to watch this video, and I would also like to say a massive thumbs up to the continued no adverts on any of the main video content here at Rag the Nuts Off. I personally hate adverts with a vengeance. I think I mentioned about Mighty Car Mods earlier too, and again, this is one of my best examples. I really like Mighty Car Mods. okay? Marty and Moog or Blair, okay? They're two really addictive guys to watch. And I don't even like cars. I'm not really into cars, to be honest, but I like Marty and Moog, okay? I like Mighty Car Mods, but I hate bastard adverts on my iPad. It really drives me. Don't get them on the desktop because I use ad block. And if you don't have ad block on your computer, literally go across to the Googler, type in ad block, and then Google Chrome if you're using Google Chrome or Internet Explorer or Firefox or whatever browser you're using, and chances are there is an ad block extension available for you, which are available for free, I hasten to add, and will block not only YouTube adverts but most other annoying adverts across the internet as well for you for free. It is a very nice part. It makes the internet almost palatable at times. But anyway, my point being was that even when it comes to channels who I like a lot, I still get frustrated by there being adverts in the videos. And I know for some of you, and I've had many of you, I've seen comments which come in, I say many, I've had 3 or 4 comments on the same topic come in over the past month or so while I was away, which was saying, Matt, your content is really good, I wouldn't mind sitting through an advert. Well, here's the irony. I personally would mind if you had to sit through an advert, and I will back out of videos because they've put adverts on them. So yeah, advertising in YouTube, a bit of a touchy subject to say the least. Some people love their adverts because they can make revenue from them, and then you've got myself, which just it's just like the sign of the devil. I hate adverts, I really do. So I hope you found this random chat about YouTube advertising, revenue generation for content creators, and useful and to you, just to like give you an insight to how not only like this channel's based, what this channel's based upon, but how other YouTube channels are based upon how they can make revenue and how they do make revenue. But one thing which I do implore for you to look out is for clarity from the people who you watch from, and it's great. I was watching, I'm not going to mention the channel, but they do heavily promote Squarespace, for example, and they bake that into their videos, and the guy is doing a fantastic job of getting it in at the beginning and getting it in at the end, but it has become too much. It's like almost 1/3 of the video is about Squarespace, which is not the way it should be. So there are definitely right ways of doing things, and there's definitely bad ways of doing things, and everybody has their own little tolerance level. I have a very low tolerance for advertising. You may have a much higher tolerance for advertising, which I strongly suggest you go and put ad block in, and it will lower very quickly. But hey ho. So any questions about advertising on YouTube? I'm probably not your man, in short, because I don't do advertising. And long live 0 YouTube adverts for all the new content which comes out on this channel for the foreseeable future. So on that note, from myself, Matt, have a fantastic day. See you soon. Cheerios.